Hi everyone, today is September 5th, 2023. Michelle Fix It here. I have no sunglasses and no earrings. It's bizarre to see myself without sunglasses and earrings. So I have been troubleshooting this refrigerator. I'm very agitated. I'm happy to have my house back because now it's just myself, my children, and then husband cat intermittently. And I figured this would be a great time to try to talk about like how to gain control of your life. Because my life was not my own for a bit, and now it is going to become my own. So I always refer to my black book, and I'll show it. So this is my black book, and what I do is I will write down things, and I'm not going to show you guys other pages because very likely personally identified information somewhere in here. But anytime that I've been like really in check with my life, I just write stuff down in my book. I figure out what I need to do. I'll write it all down on one page, or I will write it down on several pages. And so since I have like July and August and these different months that have nothing on them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip ahead to the beginning of July, and I'm going to start writing down all the things that I can think of that I need to do. And because you guys are accountability, you're beneficial for tax stuff, you're like all these different things. Oh, and see, Crazy Cat Lady, she has her own system. She does pieces of paper. So she has like Tuesday reminders. I haven't been able to get her to do the black book, and then I tried to do the Pocket Rocket thing with her, but then I left and it just didn't work out. So the Pocket Rocket thing is also very beneficial as just a thing that you can carry around in your pocket, because carrying this guy around, because he is kind of bigger, is frustrating. And I understand that there's reminder apps and there's this and there's that, but for some reason this system works for me. So if you are a more tech savvy person than I am, then use your phone, use your calendar. But for me, seeing all the little things on the calendar, it's just not the same. And then being able to cross things off my list and stuff, it's just not the same. So the first thing that was on my list mentally was my liver appointment. So I'm writing that down, even though today, after making like 5 calls, I actually ended up getting kind of not nice with the last person because they refused to schedule an appointment because they're like, hey, you got a big scary thing going on here and we need to have like a diagnosis. I'm like, I don't have a diagnosis because this was something that happened whenever I was pregnant with my son, and he's now 18 months old. I need to see a hepatologist because you guys get a lot of transparency out of me. So when I was pregnant with my son, we found out he was medically complex. This is going to be a tangent. And well, we didn't know that. Basically, I went in for my middle of the pregnancy scan. Everything had been fine-ish. I was low on amniotic fluid at the beginning, very low on amniotic fluid at the beginning, then a little low. And then I don't recall if at his 20-week scan, I had oleohydramnios, which is too little amniotic fluid, or if I was at the polyhydramnios stage, which is too much fluid, amniotic fluid. But basically they were, like, hey, we think he has club feet. And so he needs to have significant testing done to see if this is an idiopathic thing, which idiopathic means that it's just isolated by itself. They don't know why it happens, or if he has other conditions in play. And so I was very grumpy, very upset, very worried, very concerned, very everything. And we basically spent a whole day at Children's National getting every different diagnostic image that we possibly could to see what all was going on with our son. And then a couple days later, I was unwell and I tested positive for COVID. And then I was essentially dying at home for approximately 10 or 11 days. And then I lost track of 2 days. And because I'm a hyper rational person, when I realized that I'd lost track of 2 days, I told my husband that I had to go to the hospital or I was going to die in that bed. And I went in at 26% oxygen saturation. I had cardiovascular issues happen. I had a lot of things happen. And then basically I was almost dying in the hospital for almost 2 weeks. And right before the diagnosis of COVID, it was like we did the full day at Children's, and the following day, being shell shocked from everything, we had a Zoom conference with his doctors, and they said that they had found a mass on my liver and that I definitely needed to get it checked out because it was rather large. And so I mentioned that to the hospital staff while I was dying of COVID. And so in some of my testing that was going on, because I was having, like I said, cardiovascular issues, I developed cardiomegaly, I had pulmonary hypertension, I had like 5 things going on with my heart, so I had a lot of heart care while I was there. And then they did an abdominal not an ultrasound, an MRI. And they didn't tell me. They told me you need to see a cardiologist after you get out of here, and you need to see a gastroenterologist after you get out of here. I never saw the results of this stuff. I didn't know that I was on the verge of having it was a borderline aortic dilation, 0.1 more, and I would have needed surgery. They didn't tell me any of that stuff. I don't know if it was to keep me from freaking out or what, but like maybe somebody should have called me after I was like not dying of COVID. So I just happened to find out all of that when I synced up my MyChart stuff from Johns Hopkins with Sentara and Innova. And I was flipping out about the heart stuff. I was flipping out about a lot of different things. I didn't realize that my oxygen saturation was so poor, and how close to death I really was. But when I got to the abdominal MRI, I read my name with the possibility of a hepatocellular carcinoma, and that means cancer. So, rightly so, I freaked out, scheduled an appointment. My appointment was supposed to be a couple days before or after I found out that O was in Mississippi. So I chose my daughter over going to that appointment that I'd waited months for. So today, being the first day that I am back and trying to reacclimate to normal life and not going all over the place, I currently have an appointment scheduled for December 22nd. And then I had to call 5 different times because it is actually incredibly difficult when you say carcinoma with the gastroenterology department for Johns Hopkins to get an appointment scheduled. So after I kind of professionally grumped at the last lady that was on the phone with me, because it was call the number to schedule with hepatology, which is just liver doctors. If you have one issue with one organ, you go see the person that only deals with that organ. So possibility of liver cancer, you see a hepatologist, you could see a gastroenterologist, but for me, I'd rather see the person that only deals with the specific organ. So the lady said, this should be treated a little bit more urgently, and so here's the number, you call this office and you can schedule with this doctor. I called the office and it's an answering machine, and I want to get this done because this is kind of critical for me. And so I left a message, and then I called back. I was like, hey, I don't want to have to wait whatever amount of time. I want to make sure that I have something scheduled and on the books. I have children. I need this done. And she was like, well, we can't schedule anything for you. And I was like, well, I think it's funny because you're an answering service you're the scheduling hotline for hepatology and gastroenterology. And so then she gave me a different doctor's name to call, and that turned out to be his office line. And then he had a different number to call for scheduling appointments, and then I call that number, and it basically is a different number for the same place that I called the other time, 2 times. And so I talked to that lady. I was like, look, like, I need to schedule something. I need to know that something's on the books, because since he's medically, I just lost my pen cap. Since my son is medically complex, I know how this works. It takes months and months to get things scheduled. And, like, this is my first available day to be able to make this appointment. And while you schedule appointments all day long, like, I don't. I have a life that requires me to be available to my children and homeschooling and all this other stuff. So I said, I don't care what it takes. I need an appointment, even if you just put it in for the gigantic hemangioma that's on my liver that shouldn't be there. Even if you remove and don't talk about the possibility of the carcinoma, like, I need an appointment. So I'm currently scheduled for December 22nd. So 5 calls later, I was able to get an appointment scheduled. So because I had to do all that work, and because it took such a substantially long amount of time, and in a far more emotional stuff than I wanted to have for scheduling an appointment, I have written down liver appointment. And now, with great satisfaction, I will cross it off my list. This is how you have to live. And that's a celebratory dance. Because does it get me any closer to knowing what's going on with my liver? No. I mean, yes. But now that's a check in the box, and that liver thing is not going to be in my mind until December 22nd. I did go on my chart. I have a message from a lady about the hepatologist with the doctor that they said would be the preferable one for the carcinoma, I think. And so she requested reports, and so I am sending over screenshots of my stuff. So, we have the liver appointment scheduled. Franklin Town. Bill needs to be put on here because Franklin Town owes a substantial amount of back rent. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an attorney. What you tell me is not privileged information. I have a tenant that thinks it's fun to play games with rent. And that's going to stop. And you guys are going to be accountability, and you guys will be there when I talk to her about it. Because we specifically purchased this house for her and her family with the specific intent of working on it together, because she's paying way below what market rent would be for that property. The property was dilapidated when we purchased it. We worked really hard on it. It's on my website with all the fanciful and nice, cute stuff. Did a great thing with the floors and the walls and rehabilitation of the property, and it still needed stuff. She needed to get put into the house immediately because she had a terrible landlord that I was personally dealing with, that was not caring about health, safety, sanitation. All was good, all was well, and then I think the family, we bonded with the family too much, and so now it's a huge problem with personal and business clashing, and she owes us a substantial amount of money, and it's creating a financial hardship on our family, which isn't fair for us or my husband, because he is the primary breadwinner for these households. And with Charlie's stuff and everything else, like, it's not fair. And so people started getting grumpy with me, and they're like, oh, well, she's not paying rent because, you need to work on the house. I'm like, she hasn't been paying all of her rent for quite some time. Anyone else would have booted her a long time ago, but because I care about the children, because I became personally invested in this family, now there are problems. So we're doing an update on her rent, or her bill, and then we will be sitting down with her and figuring out what we are going to do, because either they are going to leave and maybe court, maybe not, or they're going to start playing by the rules. Because rents are high, exceptionally high, and I don't like it whenever I feel like people are taking advantage of situations. So that's where we're at. So we have Franklin Town bill, we have Fulton bill. Because Fulton also has been fun. They were only supposed to temporarily be in that property because they weren't getting along with Miss Mary. They were renting a room here. They have sufficiently shown their butts. Threats have been made. Stupidity has ensued. A letter has been mailed. I was told that they would be vacating the property. They are not doing that. And so you guys get to personally witness that little subcategory of my life, because I am going to start taking charge of my life, because I can't tell you how life-changing it is to see your name and carcinoma on the same page, same piece of paper. So I have an 18-month-old and a 10-year-old and a husband and responsibilities. And if I just disappear tomorrow, these children will suffer. And the houses and everything else in our lives is too much for my husband to manage independently if I'm not here, or if I wasn't here. So I'm going to start putting all my ducks in a row, because it is just a possibility of a carcinoma right now. But it's also a possibility of a liver resection. And it's very frustrating because I don't have any of the lifestyle factors. So basically, I'm going to be getting my life in check, and I'm going to start living like I'm dying. Because one never knows. And that way, at least if anything happens, if something great happens, and, it just turns out that, like, for some reason, weirdness ensued and my liver looked funny and all is well in the world, then I have a different perspective on life, and I appreciate every single day above ground. And if bad things begin to happen, I have better equipped my family for life with me being incapacitated, or a life with me not being here. Because you never know. Alright, so liver appointment, Franklintown bill, plus I work better. Healthy coping mechanisms for me, if I can't desensitize or correct a problem immediately, is to stay busy. So I'm going to be as busy as I possibly can. And people are going to start getting really grumpy with me because they're going to be like, why is Miss Michelle such a butthead now? It's like, because Miss Michelle is tired of all this garbage. Because Miss Michelle had a lot more patience before people started acting a lot more stupid. And now it's like it's my way or the highway, and you can get out of the way. Because these children come first. It's not a me come first thing. It's the children come first, and making sure that my family is solid comes first. So, liver appointment, Franklintown bill, Fulton bill, fix refrigerator. Guess Miss Mary broke it. Fix the stove, because Miss Mary broke it. Call attorney. About Fulton, because I don't want to deal with that stupid stuff. I want to make sure everything I'm doing is completely above board. And you know what? Fulton and Franklintown. And Miss Mary, because I think I'm going to sue her for what she's done to my house. And she left. I was very good to Miss Mary. I was taking her to appointments. I was acting like she was a grumpy grandmother in the house. She has torn apart my floor over there. My refrigerator is messed up because she kept just leaving it open for long periods of time, overpacking it with things. She was abusing the crap out of that very expensive refrigerator. My stove is very expensive. And now my oven, my big oven's not working. Luckily, I have a small oven too. So while I was gone, she broke both of these things. She tore apart the brand new flooring that I had put in whenever she first insisted on moving from upstairs to downstairs. She was a hoarder. I didn't want you guys to know that because I was trying to be kind of protective. But we had a lot of issues because she was trying to take her hoarding of things outside of her room. And I had to tell her very nicely and very professionally at different times, and then got screamed and cussed at about how she was renting a room and she was not renting the whole house. She was giving my things away. She stole plates and bowls and everything else before she decided to leave, which was not appropriate. I have tools. All my cameras, as I have cameras throughout the house in the common areas. Yes, I still do that. She was giving my tools away, loaning my stuff out. She was having people that I did not want in my home. And that room is completely torn apart. It was and she had fleas and things that were not appropriate in that house, and I knew that they were in her room. Those issues were in her room, and I kept trying to mitigate to the best of my abilities, and I kept trying to make sure that those problems did not go throughout the rest of the house. And so as soon as she left, boom, it's way worse. So substantial amount of money, and she just left without paying rent or anything. She didn't have a deposit down or anything on that rent. So she's, older, and I care about her, but, consequences to actions. And she decided to, yell, kick, and scream and tell everybody that, the cats went in her room and peed all over her stuff when it was clearly an incontinence issue. And, that's just something you shouldn't do. You should not, if you're going to leave somewhere, you leave somewhere neutrally. So that's another thing. I am going to be opening up a shopette in that room because I do like having my property have some type of business purpose. So it was an investment property solely. It is still an investment property, but it's going to be an investment property that's managing a business. So I have learned about the cottage kitchen stuff. So that's going to be part of my, I'm going to open a cottage kitchen, and I am also going to be opening up a shopette. The cottage kitchen does not need any special licensing. It is restricted with what I can make and sell. And then I did find out about the peddler's license. And so if you are a peddler, basically you are authorized to be able to independently sell goods, prepackaged things, a lot of stuff. And so that is going to be the licensing that I use, part of the licensing that I use for the shopette. So it'll technically be two different businesses operating and being taxed independently from each other. So I need to put in for the peddler's license because it's like $25-$50, something like that. There's a little bit of paperwork that I have to put in for that. And then I need to apply for a sales and use ID number. My son is chewing on the cabinet. Because the sales and use ID would be how I pay sales tax for those two businesses. And then it's going to be a great entrepreneurial experiment for Isabel. She's super duper excited about it. And it's a great way to help this community because this community is in the middle of a food desert because I have transportation, so I can come and go and do whatever I want to do at any point in time. A lot of the people that live in this area don't have transportation outside of public transportation, which is very bothersome to try to go to the store, and we're in the middle of a food desert. So I have no problem with shopping a little bit more frequently and then selling the things that I purchase from the store to people that otherwise would not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables. Outside of, there are a couple churches that do have a day, I think it's one day a month and one day a week, that they will give out foods and stuff, but most of the food is frozen. You never really know if you're going to get sick from it or not, according to the individuals that get it. And then sometimes they do fresh fruits and vegetables, but they're definitely beyond. I think it's because of how long it takes for them to go through the cycle, where they're typically not good by the time that they're getting parceled out to individuals. So I'll be able to help with that, and that makes me happy. And so what I'm going to do is, like if I make food and stuff like that, then I will be making videos on how to cook with the things that I have in stock. So that way if people, because a lot of people don't know how to cook from scratch. I'm seeing a lot of, and it's not just from this area, but a lot of other people too, where people aren't just bonding in the kitchen like they used to, or maybe people are trying to do it now, but it's not as prevalent. And even so, like, I love you, Mommy Cat, but, like, you didn't want me in the kitchen when you were cooking because I think you had some anxiety about being in the kitchen while you were cooking. So, therefore, I learned how to cook based off of the internet or watching from far away while people are cooking, which is why I try to include Isabel into the kitchen as much as I can. And I try to do the same thing with the daycare children, and I try to do the same thing with my little O. So, I'm going to cook meals that are nutritious, delicious, not super fast meals, not super ridiculous preparation for meals, and then I'll make videos off of it, and we'll see how it goes. We're going to start teaching people how to fish. Is it profitable for me? Yes, the intent is to create a profit because anyone that has a business is intending to have a profit. But as long as the shopette makes more money than it did as Miss Mary's room, and it's going to be more beneficial to me because I'm not going to have somebody going through the house breaking my stuff, being grumpy, and then drunkenly having friends over and becoming a nuisance to the neighborhood, that's fine. I wish her best life. I'm just very angry and upset about the way that she did everything because I can show you her my chart. I won't show you her my chart because that would be a violation of HIPAA. But I could tell you that I have tried to help her with medications. I have assisted with scheduling appointments. I've transported to appointments, and I've done all these different things, and I got to a point where I was not appreciated at all. And I went from being a landlady to being a servant, and not even an appreciated servant. And the feeling is mutual for Crazy Cat Lady because Crazy Cat Lady, as you know, a love for the elderly and a love for children and the animals, and for me was caretaking all of the yucky stuff that had to go on in there on an everyday basis. And that was very, very wonderful of her to do. And you would think that, after someone giving themselves to you in servitude to make sure that your hygiene was more appropriately taken care of, that you would appreciate them, that you would be upset when you're leaving, that you wouldn't leave such a disgusting mess, because Miss Mary knew just as much as anyone knows that this house, I own this house, but this house is the second home for Crazy Cat Lady. This is where the majority of her furries live, because she has furries at her house, but I have a lot more furries over here that she feels like are her furries. And so it's just as much a personal attack to me after I've been really nice as it is to Crazy Cat Lady for Miss Mary to do everything that she's done. And it's not appropriate. And after being 70-something years old, you know better. You do. It was just malicious, and I don't appreciate. It's malicious, and I don't appreciate it. And I don't appreciate how she was yammering and being all grumpy about me in the neighborhood when she was leaving. When you guys saw her in videos. She's in videos. I was taking her out and about. And I used to do that all the time. Anyways, you can see one thing, say one thing. It is what it is. Oh, look, I've been talking for 26 minutes. Okay. Franklintown, Bill Fulton. Bill, fix refrigerator, fix stove. Call attorney about Miss Mary Franklintown and Fulton. Cottage, kitchen stuff. Can I have that, Charlie? Thank you, buddy. It belongs to Mama. You want this? Pardon me. No, you cannot have them. You have toys. And we're also going to be able to make the kitchen organized the way that I want it to be, and it'll stay that way because it's my house all the way. This house is like a stash house of random things, like equipment and tools and stupid stuff before, and then it was like everyone else's house, and I just kind of came and was here, and now it's my house, and I'm excited about that. I just sent out a text message. Bear with me. I have so many stories to tell. And my name and carcinoma on the same piece of paper. You guys are going to start hearing a lot of it. Somebody's going to probably try to sue me. But a lot of people have been really not nice to me. And I only have to be not nice to people when it's in self-preservation. And I only do it as a last resort because it physically exhausts me to be mean to people. It's for your benefit. It's going to be like that. There's some movie about a guy that was in like a little thing and like cameras started following and stuff's going to be like that for you guys. It's going to be raw footage. You're going to be like, what is up with this lady? Why is she telling all her business to everybody? Because I was going to write a book. But then I didn't want everybody to be mad at me because I didn't want everyone's dirty laundry out there. And so I had in my mind and had started doing it in different little things about writing a book, which I still might do. But it was going to be like chapters and stories about individuals and how they impacted my life and how they formed who I am today. And you guys will just get little snippets of it here and there. Because I'm not perfect. I'm not the ultimate good girl or the ultimate bad girl. I have tried really hard to be really good for a really long time, and I've learned that a lot of people just don't care, and they're mean, and they're not nice. And then I see memes about the stuff where it's like, how long did it take you to realize that you just had to be a butthead? And it's like, I'm not going to be a butthead. I'm just going to have a backbone. That's it. And you guys are my backbone. And your accountability, and you're like a witness because you're admissible in court, and like people are stupid. And if people don't want to talk to me without you guys, you shouldn't be talking to me. Just saying, because I live my life like somebody's recording me 24/7. Because I think that people should be able to be recorded 24/7. Because it shouldn't be that you can say this to this person, you can say this to this person, and then you could say I didn't say that, and then you can create issues with these people because now you're not you're able to manipulate people, and I don't like that. Nope. All right. sales, use ID. What other stuff do we have to do? We have to organize. Let's say organize the kitchen. Organize living room. Ooh, my monthly sales ops. Dad's shop monthly. I have monthly obligations there. What other stuff do I have to do? I had to pay my child support. My child is almost 18. Mothers don't keep fathers away from their children. I guess I know what that's like. And first ex-person, you're a terrible person. And all of your little things, I have records on them. And once my little thing is over 18, I will start divulging. Because I was not going to be the person that talked about all the grown-up stuff before my child was a grown-up. And you have text messages that show that you were not doing that. And that is wrong. You're a bad person for doing that. Charlie, what are you doing, buddy? What do you have? What is that? All right. I need to get flea shampoo for the animals. I need to move the microwave. That's supposed to be up there. Georgetown Laundry. I need to get caught up at Georgetown Laundry. Oh, I mowed the grass at Georgetown. So I can put Georgetown grass and then cross that off the list because that did it. Oh, the windows! I have 2 windows that were super expensive that have been in my cat room. My guest bedroom, excuse me. And in my guest bedroom for like a year and a half because my Sparrow's room was so gross and I couldn't change them out. So shop at windows. Or maybe I should just call it Michelle Fix-It Shop. Michelle Fix-It Shop or Michelle Fix-It Shopette. Michelle Fix-It Spites. Michelle Fix-It Spites. Michelle Fix-It Spites. Michelle Fix-It Shop. Michelle Fix-It Shopette. Let's see what else a crazy cat lady wants. This is not just going to be foods. That'll probably end up evolving into being like the toiletries and stuff. Michelle Fix-It Shopette. Michelle Fix-It Bites. I kind of like the Bites one, even though we'll probably evolve into selling other stuff. And the abbreviation for it is not good either way. MFS or MFB. Ah! I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, it's my list. So this is the stuff we have to bang off of our list. No personally identifying information. And as I get them done, I cross them off the list based off of what I have time to do. And since it's such a long list, and then what I'll do is I have my little marker guy right here. So today is the 5th. So I'm starting off my day here, and if I get any of this stuff completed, then I'll cross it off as I go through. The other thing that I really like about it, and personally identifying information aside, is that like if I have a list from a different day, and no! Wait, where did the muffins go? What? Where did the muffins go? Charlie! Xena, you ate the I think Xena ate the blueberry muffins. There are no blueberry muffins. There were blueberry muffins, and now they're not. This is my refrigerator, my poor refrigerator. So unhappy. And look. It's not really doing that on my side with the numbers, but it won't cool down. Don't know. We'll figure it out. All right, I will see you guys when I figure out what else to record with you guys, because I'm like dropping the ball with you guys. Sorry, bye.